Hey everyone, special guest today, Lance White, head women's basketball coach here at the University of Pittsburgh, joins Locked On Pitt today. We're going to discuss the new transfers and everything in between for the women's basketball team coming up in the winter. It's all coming up today on this episode of Locked On Pitt.
Are Locked On Pitt, your daily podcast on the Pittsburgh Panthers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey everybody, welcome to a very special edition of the Locked On Pitt podcast. As you can see, I have a very special guest. We've got a lot of guests, but I don't think anyone quite measures up to this guy right here, Pitt women's basketball head coach, Lance White. Welcome to the show, Coach.
Nick, thanks so much for having me. And I am locked on. I'm ready to go.
Appreciate you joining the show, Coach, and you guys over there at Pitt women's basketball. I know with all the crazy stuff that's happened over the past 2 months with the Pitt men's basketball and then Pitt football, you guys have flown under the radar, but you guys have had a very eventful offseason. The entire roster seems to be flipped over. You have some usual names there, but you guys have a lot of new additions, just like a lot of other teams in the age of the transfer portal. How has it been navigating the transfer portal and essentially what is a new landscape for all of college sports?
Yeah, no, it is. It's such a complete flip. And used to, we would always work as hard as we could to get to November in the recruiting cycle. And then it kind of tailed off and you started recruiting young kids. And now our spring has become everything. Is that now in the spring, you really are trying, we signed 4 kids in the spring and, it's really crazy. But now once we get them here during the summer, it's really been fun to see how those kids have transformed us. And like you said, we have 9 that returners that, that are really have paid the price. And I'm excited to what they're finally, as they mature and get to those junior and senior level and then to add this influx of new talent in, it's got the opportunity to be a great season.
Well, one of those people that is coming back is senior guard Dayna Harris, and she maybe didn't have the year she wanted last year, was up and down, still recovering from her knee injury, and so she didn't get fully going until really middle of the season, and then it just never fully clicked. And then there was so much turmoil. Now heading into her senior year, she has a lot more help, it feels like, around in terms of the shooting and different things that she's going to have. It's a different team than what she's played on. How's it going to help Day, and what's your expectation for her heading into her senior season?
Yeah, I think you hit on it too, is that whenever we didn't get her till Thanksgiving, and so just lose her all summer long where she's not able to work on skill development and, and then she's thrown in and we're trying to piece some of that stuff together. And so really was never able to get fully into the rhythm of what she needed to do for us. And so to see her, this summer of just really being able to break skills down and, change pace and do some of that stuff that she's needed to do last summer. It's been really beneficial. And our number one, or really 2 things that in this off season, we wanted to go find makers, not shooters. And so some kids who could really knock the ball in from distance. And then we wanted to find winners, kids from winning programs to kids who have tasted it, who know what success looks like, feels like. And so I think that more than anything of giving Day space to now operate where now you've got some kids out there who can really knock down shots will really allow her to come into her own. And so I think it helps her, it helps Amber Brown and Amy Hayford and some of those attackers that we've been able to have. But whenever there's 4 people in the paint because we couldn't shoot as well we needed to, it makes their lives a little bit harder. And so now to have Aizlin and Avery and Marley and, those 3 freshmen, and then obviously Gabby transfer from Ohio State who can really shoot the basketball, I think it transforms what we're doing on the offensive end.
Sounds very fun, and I think everyone's looking forward to that. But another new addition you didn't even mention, Shanice Lewis, who she has been very intriguing to me. I think she has 2 years of eligibility left. Confirmed that with Louis earlier today.
Yep.
So
Yep.
she's here for 2 years. It sounds like to you, at least, she might be a true point guard, which is something that's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, no, and that too probably helps Day more than anything of just really taking her off of that point guard position and allowing her to be what she needs to be, which is an attack guard and and a combo guard, so that she can really go and attack and do some of those things. But Shanice is a true point guard, and and I think she's got the feel. Her she would much rather pass, but she has the ability to shoot and shoots extremely high percentage, and she is just as calm and cool and collective, and so I'm really excited. Doesn't she's played in so many big games through her high school and through her college experience to understand that and understand time and possession, and her basketball IQ is off the charts, and so it really, I think, having that, and we really have missed that one position, a kid who can just control the game and control the ball, and she's that, and we really need that, and I'm excited to put her on the floor and let her do her thing.
She's only played 9 games in the last 3 seasons, so that's a tough thing to weigh. So how does she go right early in the season? Do you maybe try to ease her into that role a little bit more? Or is it just going to kind of be whatever she takes, you kind of are going to give her, and it depends on what you can see there?
I think she's in a really good space, and and that's what she had dealt with some injuries, and last year was really took it to really focus on just her mental and physical health, and and I think that brought back that love for the game, brought back all of those things that she had missed, and and two, it allowed her to get healthy, and and I think all of those pieces, and then now as we put into it, and obviously we will want to continue that, and we want to. It's a long season. Basketball is a long. Whenever you go for those 2 semesters and throughout the summer, and but it really is of keeping her healthy, and because we need her poise, her ability to make plays for others, and so it will be a little bit of see how it goes, and just how much we can push her, and then at the same time protecting her and making sure that she's ready for the grinds, because we're going to need her come January, February, and March more than anything.
Sounds like that she's a pretty exciting addition for you guys, and excited to see her. Another exciting addition that you've talked about is Gabby Hutcherson from Ohio State. Now, you guys have had a little bit of turnover over there in the front court. Rita transferred, Tracy also transferred, but you have Gabby coming in now, and she's a little bit different profile from a lot of the bigs you've had. She's a true stretch big who can actually shoot 3. How do you think that's going to change your offense, and what's your expectations for her?
Yeah, well, it changes everything, and she's got a great length. She's got a really long wingspan and can defend anyone on the floor. But just her ability to shoot the basketball, and even over the last since I've been a head coach here, of just I used to think that you could go find some great athletes and and then defend people and keep them off. Is now I think you have to be able to shoot and make shots, and I think it's the biggest differential. It's the thing that separates good teams from great teams, and Gabby's ability to put the ball in the hole, and for her, she's going to have to change her role, and going from a role player to now where she's got to assume a big chunk of minutes to being able to make plays on both ends of the floor, and so I'm really excited about her ability to do that. She's a consummate leader, does it with work ethic, but she's got a great voice, and so I think that dynamic changes so much of it too. Just loves to play, and so it's going to be fun to watch her develop and really come into her own here at Pitt.
Folks, we'll get back to the interview, but first let me let you know about Built Bar, because from the people who invented both healthy and tasty together in a protein bar, it's the latest gift, folks, to your taste buds. Coconut Brownie Chunk Puff. You got to try this, folks. It is maybe the best puff flavor you have had yet. That's right, the Coconut Brownie Chunk Built Bar flavor you love. It's a deliciously chewy marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. It's a fluffy cloud that you can't get enough of. All Built Bars are made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. You can eat something good while having it taste good. You will get a ton of protein in your Built bars here, and it will taste so sweet. So go to built.com, use the promo code LOCKED15 and get 50% off your order. Use the promo code LOCKED15. And as you said, a little bit of a different role for her. She's kind of growing into her own, but some people that could maybe help her ease into that role. You have Cynthia and you have Liatu, who have played kind of down in that front court a lot. AB as well. Although AB is a different type of player than the others I mentioned, just in terms of everything. But could she potentially be helped by Liatu, Cynthia, and the other front court people that are there?
Yeah, and how we're going to play is, again, we're not going to be a huge team, but I think some of our guards and forwards can post up against anybody and face up and go around them, and that's probably what I'm most excited to be able to see. And and now we're going to force teams to guard us on the perimeter, and and be able to shoot the ball much better, and so it's going to be really interesting. And I think one of the kids that might surprise everyone, and somebody you didn't mention, was Malia Johnson from Ohio. We call her Lily, and she's had a tremendous offseason. And and I think that kid has the body, the mind, and she's relentless, and really has a chance to, going into her sophomore year, to really do great things for us. And so I think we've got a lot of depth and versatility in those spots, but it's going to be fun to see which of those kids rise up and really accept that challenge and go make plays for us.
You've talked a lot about, in your first few years here on the job, rebounding and defense when this team was really young and you had just brought in your first class. You talked about rebounding, defense fundamentals. Now it almost seems like it's a little bit of a switch. Not that those aren't going to be part of it, but that you're maybe trading a little bit of defense and a little bit of rebounding for a little bit of shooting and offense. Is that something you've maybe learned over kind of your course here? And is that maybe a reasonable assumption?
Yeah, again, whenever you're facing, the gauntlet of the ACC, and there's just such great teams of, we look at, we lost 10 games by 8 or fewer points, and you just, what was the difference? And again, overall, I thought we got, looking back and being able to go review those films and and figure out what caused those, and we got the looks we needed. We didn't knock down shots, and and I think that's the crux of where we have to go, is that now you have to get those same looks, and now you got to have the kids and the ability to knock them down, and that's what I'm really excited about. Our mental approach this summer and in fall is just, how do we put ourselves in position to get great shots and now put in the work that's required to knock them down in big time games.
Well, you talked about some of the shooters, and the freshman class is obviously going to be who a lot of people are going to look towards. You have 3 really good freshmen coming in, starting with local Aizlin Malcolm. What have you seen from her, and what really drew you to her in terms of her skill set?
Well, exactly what I just talked about is the 2 things, kids that were makers, and and you look at her shooting percentage of over her career there at Chartiers Valley, and just phenomenal. And then she's a winner. Is that whenever you have a kid who's won 110 games and lost like 7, you feel pretty good about her ability to think that every time she's on the floor, she's going to win. And, and so that mentality, and, and obviously well coached, and has really in this area, one of the best players to come out of Pittsburgh. And, and she's got a chance to be a phenomenal player. I've been really pleased with how in these first 3 weeks of how she's handled the new pace, the new speed, and she's really thriving. And so I'm excited to see her continue in that development.
Another one of those freshmen is Marley coming in. She was a big-time player in West Virginia, and I only watched the highlight tapes, but it's pretty impressive stuff when you see what she can do. What are you excited about with her, and what have you seen thus far?
Yeah, again, whenever we had the opportunity to jump in with Marley and Avery, but with Marley especially, just her basketball IQ and just her ability to understand the game, understand where people are, and and just how to move the basketball 1-2 passes to get a better shot. And again, long line of winning from her AAU team to the things that she's able to do in high school, and again, it's a different level now that she's going to have to get to, but she's got all the tools and really has prepared herself extremely well. And all three of those kids just get in the gym and they just work like crazy, and they're really going to be fun kids to watch here with us this year.
Yeah, and then the last one that you mentioned was Ace Avery Strickland,
Yeah.
who you got on the last commit, and
Yeah.
she just recently went, I think, straight from practice and competed in a track competition.
Oh, no,
Crazy
yeah.
stuff like that.
4x4 relay. Her team qualified for nationals out of high school, and you're just going, okay, go run your 400 meter. You haven't done this in 3 weeks, but let's go do it. Come on. And that's the type of kid she is that she is going to play as hard as she can possibly play every possession. And again, another kid that can just fill it up. We were talking as a staff yesterday, and just every time she shoots it, you think it's going in. And whenever she misses one, we're like, whoa, what? Okay. And so it really has been fun to watch her. And I think with all three of those kids, they haven't touched their ceiling, and so it's really going to be fun to watch them now as the pace gets faster, and physicality, and just to see what they're really capable of doing. And they're phenomenal kids, and it's really been fun to see them mesh with our team, and now it's becoming their team, and so it's really been fun to watch all those dynamics here over the summer.
Speaking of your staff, you just had a new staff addition that was announced yesterday with assistant coach Pio coming on. What drew you to him, and how is he going to make his impact felt here on this staff for you?
Yeah, no, he's a great addition, and obviously losing Josh was that's going to be a hole that we're going to have to really try to. A lot of us are going to have to try to fill, but then whenever Nick, we started recruiting him, and the thing that I really wanted was kind of those same mentality that I wanted in our players, is that I wanted somebody who's won at a lot of different levels, and and obviously his pro WNBA experience, then what they were able to do and get to the tournament at Seton Hall, and then being a head coach. And I mean, you just look at his teams there, and all they did was win, and so that was really, really important to me. Finding somebody who can really help us on the offensive end. I think Terry has done a great job on our defensive side of the ball, and now to have somebody that can really own that space on the offensive end, and he's got a great mind, and his teams are extremely efficient there at Scranton. And so I was really, once we started talking basketball, and I thought he brought our philosophies merged a lot in a lot of different ways. And so it was really, it's going to be fun to see him attack that end of the floor.
Sounds like an exciting addition to your staff. I do want to go back to the players, and one of the experienced players on this team who might be very well the leader of it, in Amber Brown.
Yeah.
She has seemingly grown every year, and I'm always amazed at what she does at her size and her skill set and how she survives in the ACC. But she does it because I'm not sure I've ever seen someone play as hard as she does with her skill set at her size. She's essentially a 4 that's way undersized, and it's crazy to me. But what are you looking for from her in her senior year? Is she being the leader in the locker room, and how big is she going to be to your guys' success?
Yeah, you hit it right on the head, and just her energy, and she's the charisma of our team, and pretty much the heart of everything that we do. And just because she plays so hard, and and whenever you say what position, I have no idea what position she is. And this year, whenever we're lining up, we're going, now with the addition of Gabby and some of those, is AB may be our 5 player. She may be under, because again, the things that limit her, she has no. I'm gonna go get the rebound. I'm gonna defend the full out of you, and I'm gonna do everything I can to make plays when we need to. And that's the type of kid she is. And but she's had a phenomenal summer, and I think she's really worked on improving that free throw line jumper, and because again, if she can knock that down consistently, then it opens everything else that she does so well, and automatic. But again, I think her versatility and being able to attack the floor, and And then obviously defensively and rebounding, she has to continue to do for us.
Another player in the front court that really impressed me, at least as I was watching you guys last year, was Leah King.
Yeah.
She had a few great performances throughout the year and really came on as the year went on. What have you seen from her this offseason, and what do you think the rest of this team with shooting, with a true point guard like Shanice, how that can help her out?
Yeah, no, and I thought really late into ACC play, she had some moments, and two is a very, she's such a bright kid, and and really is a what I call an engineer type, she's very methodical and going to think it through, and so once she knows exactly what you want from her, she's going to do everything she can to give you that, and so I thought late in the year she really came into her own, and understood the role that she has to play for us, and she has to continue that. She's a go-to type player, and she has to be able to score one-on-one to then open it up for others. But I think just her understanding, her poise. She is one of the kids I thought we played a little frantic at some other areas, and she's the calm within that. Now we had a couple of more of those top players with her that then we have the ability to do some really cool things. But I really like, is that we've got different players and that really can them complementing our kids that returned. And so I really think it's got a chance to be the best team, I've coached here, that really has a chance to do some great things and go and, really battle those ACC teams where before we could get close. Now we got to go beat them.
And you talked about that, but you guys have 9 guards, and if you count Malia Johnson, who's listed on the site as a guard forward, I think it's 10, which is absurd for a roster. Yeah. And so you guys are, as you said, you are a little bit of a smaller team in the ACC. How's that gonna help you guys? How's that going to work when you say go into game planning against different teams and you say, okay, we have all these pieces and we can mix and match them really however we want? Because it seems like your team is extremely deep. Everyone on this roster, aside from the freshmen, have a lot of experience. So you guys have a ton of options.
Yeah, no, and that's, I think, what excites me more than anything about us is used to, we would go into games of how do we match up with them, and I think it completely flips. Is how our team's going to match up with us, and and that's going to be really fun to for them to try to see how they're going to, what are they going to do with their bigs, what are they going to do with is now being able to, how are they going to try to guard us zone? Let's go. We'll handle that, and before teams could do that, and we didn't always have the answer we needed to, and so I'm really excited about flipping that script a little bit, and we're in a lot more about us. And and now teams are going to have to try to match us, and and so I think that'll be a fun and give us a little bit of a swag of that. This is what we're going to do, and now you have to try to change what you do to play with us, and so I think that'll be a fun mentality, and for our kids to assume that, and it's going to be really exciting to see how and which of those kids we've been challenging our team every day is that elite is earned. And they have to position. It's going to be handed to them, and so I think we're going to be scrappy and get after you, and I think we're going to be able to throw a lot of different looks at you, and but it is going to come down to teams going to have to finally try to see how they're going to guard us.
The 2 stats that jumped out last year as we were going through games, and you kind of saw where you guys competed and maybe where you guys fell short at times, was your 3-point shooting, as you've mentioned, and your turnovers. You had 18.5 turnovers per game, and that's been something that you have been very vocal about. We got to cut that stuff down, and we got to make our shots. How can you guys take care of the ball a little bit better? And obviously the shooting is added through the personnel, but what is there a number that you guys are trying to look to shoot at as a team? You guys didn't even shoot over 30% last year from 3-point range. I imagine that's going to be something that you want to get over.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, and that, is that I think we were too careless, and a lot of those 18 turnovers were we didn't feel confident in being able to reverse the ball multiple times. In an ACC play, you have to be able to do that. They're going to take your first look away. And so now it's going to be that second, third. And so that's as we've, brought kids in and as now we have juniors, seniors that have been through some multiple ACC years, that now they understand that. Now they have to make the plays that are necessary. But again, I think that immediately, is that now whenever that you think it might be open, if you think it might be, you go to the next option. And now our kids are understanding that, where we're not as careless and we have to be more disciplined with those choices, immediately cut on those turnovers. And then shooting is obviously, from the floor, I want to be in the 40s and, 40s to 50s, is that shooting percentage has to be good. And, and if you can shoot high 30s and from the 3-point line, you have a chance to win a lot of games. And we're going to shoot more threes than what we did last season. And, we'd shoot very many. And we had one or two kids who, shot some at a high volume, but we're going to shoot more. And, more kids are going to earn that green light. And then they're going to have to knock down shots.
Last question for you, Coach. Coming into the year, now you are getting ready to gear up. You guys had a few really good games against some ranked opponents. You took Texas A&M to the real brink. You competed in there a little bit with NC State. The game against Notre Dame was probably your biggest one. That was almost that you were talking about those close games.
Yep.
Now that you look to that, those ranked teams, the ACC is not getting any less stronger. It's a strong conference. Yeah. How can you guys get over the hump, and what's the goal here? Is the NCAA tournament? I know it's always the goal, but it's going to be within shot distance at this point, right?
Yeah. No, we want to play in March, and and for us to make that next jump is that's where we have to go, and we have to be competitive. And obviously, we have to have a great non-conference season, and then going into ACC play, where you've got to get within that middle of the pack and up. And that puts you playing in March. Again, 8 teams were in the NCAA tournament last season. And, and it is that you're going to have a chance if you do what you need to and go and knock a couple off and beat the ones you're supposed to beat. And but, again, it's a mentality that we're going into it with, is that we want to play in March. And I think our team is locked into that. And every day is about how do we get better? How do we improve and maintain the things that we do well? But that offensive side of the ball, we've got to be better, and our kids are really putting in the work right now, and we'll get the payoff once the season comes.
Well, team is locked on to the March NCAA tournament. Got that in there, of course. You guys are locked on March.
That's exactly right. Lock it up. Here we go.
Locked on the March. Hopefully we see Lance White and the Lady Panthers over there in March in the NCAA tournament in March. I know that seems like a far way away. It's 9 months away, but it'll be here soon enough, folks. So let's hope to see Coach White there. Coach White, as always, thank you for coming on. This was fantastic insight into your team. Have to be excited about what you have building here.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys and everything you do.